All right. Can you guys talk for me?
Can you hear me? How
Yeah.
about
Keep,
this?
keep talking.
Good. Is that still a thing?
It's still a
Ryan, how
thing.
are you? Ryan,
I'm doing okay. I was
are you
I was
just
waiting for Alan to be okay with your levels before I started talking, but I mean we can always do this at the same time.
we will. We'll overlap at the
Well,
same
you
time.
guys are on the same track, so
Oh, are
Oh,
we? So
okay.
only one of us
So
really needs to talk?
well, I guess both of us are going to talk then.
I know.
yeah.
Okay.
Now,
Good. Good,
like
good, good.
you guys have individual channels here
Uh-huh.
in Discord, and then it all comes into one channel here in Streamlabs.
Is that through like a do you
So
have a software that I don't have? It's like Banana something.
no, I don't. I don't use that.
Oh,
I
okay.
just no. It just picks up what comes through my speakers.
Oh, got it.
So
Okay.
so yeah, I just gotta adjust that. I think you're a little loud now, Devin.
Oh,
But
got it.
you don't have to adjust anything. I'm taking care of
Okay.
it. So hey everybody,
Hello.
uh,
Huh?
let's get right into it, shall we?
Yes.
Because why not? Um,
Good enough.
everybody, welcome to You Have to Watch This podcast. I'm Alan,
I'm Brian.
And I'm Devin.
and today we're talking about the 2008 film The Ruins, Ryan's pick for the week. Before we get into that, we like to talk about things we watched in pop culture over the last week and change. We've been doing an ongoing segment here, mainly just because I have this pulled in our soundboard.
I like that that's the reason.
Yeah. The X-Men 97 finale aired last week. Devin, you watched it. You're
I
caught
did.
up. What did you think?
This was so good. Have you caught up?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I've watched it.
I've seen typically when something good in Marvel comes out, or at least passable in Marvel comes out, the think pieces start popping up. They're like, "This is the best thing that Marvel's done." I think this might actually be the best thing Marvel's done in a while. Like I think that other things are like fun, but like this one got me on both a like emotional and like a yeah get 'em like level.
Yeah, it's probably one of the best things they've done on Disney Plus in a while.
Or ever. I'm okay to say ever. I haven't watched the second season of Loki, and I heard that's very good.
Oh, the second season of Loki is very good.
Yeah, I. But this might be my favorite Marvel thing.
It's my favorite. How much of that though is the nostalgia for the X-Men '90s cartoon for you?
So, I started watching X-Men '97 kind of over the X-Men, but I just wanted
Yeah.
to hear the theme song, and then I just wanted to see the characters, and then I just wanted to see what they were up to, and then I just wanted to finish the series. So I didn't have a lot of nostalgia for it because I was kind of over X-Men, and this changed it on me.
Okay.
So I mean, maybe some of it is nostalgia because at the end, I always think during the credits, if you haven't seen this, they have that little like mouse hover over each of the characters, and it like spins, and it looks like the world's lamest computer now, but back then it was the world's coolest computer. I kind of love that. Like that hits me in the nostalgia pretty hard.
Yeah.
What about you?
I didn't really have nostalgia for the X-Men show. My nostalgia, which we've talked about, branches off of the Spider-Man animated series. So, like I was excited for this show to see what they did.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they did a really good job with the story they told. So
Yeah.
I'm still I have to figure out my actual thoughts on it because I'm doing an episode of Brilliant but Lazy on it tomorrow. So
Is that? It's not like a whole hour, is it?
oh, it will be, yeah.
Oh wow, you gotta get a lot of thoughts together. Are you excited for where it looks like it's gonna go?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mainly because they tease Spider-Man in it. Like if
They did.
if they're going to address him, if they're gonna tease him in this show, like they've got to do something with that Spider-Man.
Well, and they even like teased like Peter Parker and Mary Jane, like
Mhm.
both versions of him.
Yeah. Yeah, and the fact that that show ended on the cliffhanger of him having to go find Mary Jane.
Oh,
Like
that would be
that's-
really cool.
The fact that he found her Like, there's a story there. You don't just do that.
No, it's
Um,
fair. So is this now going to be in like are they teasing the same plot as like Days of Futures Past? Is that what this is?
I don't know. I think it's
Okay.
more of an apocalypse storyline that they're doing.
Oh, I thought that was him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, that's him
It
too.
was him. Yeah, but there's like a Age of Apocalypse or something like that.
Oh, there's like more than just one story with the bad
Yeah.
guy in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's how.
But yeah.
Cool, though.
I tried watching this on my phone, the finale on my phone, and kept falling asleep because I this weekend I went to Virginia and visited my niece and nephew. I got there late. I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch X-Men on my phone. Couldn't do that, but I did end up watching it when I got home. But while I was in Virginia, I watched something with them, a film that ironically was celebrating its 20th anniversary over the weekend, and I just happened to watch it with them unknowingly. Do you guys want to take a guess at what film just celebrated its 20th anniversary? I will give you a hint. It is a sequel.
Is it Prisoner of Azkaban?
No.
Damn it. I don't know why my mind went there, but I was very sure it was that one.
What movies came out when I was in high school?
I think you've got the right year.
2004.
I'm pretty sure Prisoner of Azkaban does have an anniversary this year, but it was not this past weekend.
Oh shoot. Okay. Because this is 2004. It's a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Electra.
No.
Do you have a guess, Ryan? I have no. That was my guess.
I'm drawing a blank.
I will give you another hint. I consider this one of the better sequels of all time.
Shrek 2?
It's
Wait,
Shrek
really?
2, yeah.
Oh no shit!
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually a really good sequel.
It is
Alan's
a really good
mentioned
sequel.
that like 3 times. Like
Yeah.
just 3. And the whole time I've known him, he's only mentioned that like 3 times. He's
Yeah.
only
Yeah, we watched Shrek 2, which they had never seen. And I was like, I'll watch Shrek 2. Like, we opened Peacock because I figured that's where all the Shrek movies will be because it's Universal. No, they only had the sequels. And like, well, we're watching the best sequel to Shrek.
Good call.
So we watched Shrek 2. I love this movie. It's a cinematic classic.
I was gonna ask if it holds up. It does.
It does hold up a lot. Even the references that they make.
Mhm.
Like there's a Spider-Man reference in there, like the upside down kiss thing. Unironically, there's a Prince Charles painting in it, which is
Is there really?
yep.
Oh, weird.
So if anything, it's aged better.
Oh,
It holds up to the point. It's like, okay, we're not going to watch any other Shrek movies. Like there are only
done.
2. We're not going to watch any more. But then the next day, my sister put on Shrek 3 or Shrek the Third, and I was like, that one wasn't good. It was better than It was the one with Justin Timberlake as like King Arthur.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one wasn't as bad.
Wasn't bad.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad as I remember, but the second one is classic to me.
Okay, I need to know. Does the "I Need a Hero" part still hit as hard? Because I remember that part slapping in theaters. Like that got me so pumped.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like
good.
I have the soundtrack to Shrek 2 on my phone.
That song in general is
I was listening to it today on the tube. It like came up and I went,
On the
"Oh,
tube.
Bonnie Tyler, my girl."
Subway,
Okay.
Devon. You're on the subway.
Just out of curiosity, I looked. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban has its 20th anniversary coming up on June 4th.
Oh, that's so close.
Yeah.
Hold on. We've all seen Harry Potter, right? All of us.
Yes.
We've seen this.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. I can't have you guys watching 2 series at once, I guess.
I mean, we could revisit for an anniversary if we wanted to.
We may. Very well.
Yeah.
But I was just looking at the soundtrack for Shrek 2. I forgot how good this is.
Yeah. Which ones jump out at you in particular?
I mean, obviously the Eddie Murphy version of Livin' La Vida Loca
With
uh,
Puss in Boots.
with Puss in Boots, but I also really like the fact that Funky Town, Holding Out for a Hero, Accidentally in Love, I'm on My Way are on there because I really like those.
Yeah.
It's weird. I was actually thinking about this today. So I was on my way to work and I was thinking about soundtracks that define periods in your life. And I have a very distinct memory, and this happened completely without this conversation. Distinct memory of the Shrek, the original movie motion picture soundtrack, uh, really impacting my life and being something that I listened to a lot, a lot, a lot. Uh, like I bought it on CD. I had it in my little CD player. I listened to it all the time, and I loved it. And I forgot how much the second one also like was on repeat for me. Is the third one music is good?
Mm. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah. I haven't looked at the soundtrack. It wasn't bad, but
Yeah.
I can't say one way or the other. No, like I know what you're talking about. Like I have that too. In 2004, for me, that was the Spider-Man 2 soundtrack,
Right.
which I'm not going to go get it because it's upstairs and I don't feel like getting up. I just bought the main the main song from that on vinyl.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, Vindicated by Dashboard Confessional. And then it has the Spidey Suite and Doc Ock Suite from the soundtrack on the B-side.
That's a really cool find. Where did you
Yeah.
get that?
Mondo.
Is that a website?
Yeah. They do like all of the art, like cool art vinyl stuff
I love
for
that.
different soundtracks and stuff. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to buy that. Like, why not? Like,
Oh, yeah. Mondo's cool. I just went to their website.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure you had like when you lived in Pittsburgh, I'm pretty sure I saw a Spider-Man Homecoming poster that was done by Mondo.
I'm sure you did. I'm
Yeah.
sure I had it. I'm sure I wasn't sure where it came from.
Yeah.
This is.
Yeah.
I'm so
But-
happy you watched Shrek 2. That makes me so happy.
Yeah. My niece and nephew wanted to watch Five Nights at Freddy's, and I was babysitting, and I was like, no.
No.
But then they watched it as soon as I left.
Oh.
My niece did. My nephew did not. He's only 4. But yeah, that's how I spent my weekend. At one point, we almost went to see If, but that did not happen. So
Here it's not very good. I don't want to be that guy,
Yeah.
but I would see it. I'd still watch it.
all right.
It's a live action movie with cartoon CGI characters walking around. How good could it be?
The only thing, the one of the things that makes me want to see it more than any of the names that are in it is Michael Giacchino did the score. I'm like, okay,
Ooh.
I'm always down for a Giacchino joint. Like, let's go.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. Have you listened to any of the soundtrack at all, like separate
No.
from the movie?
No, if I see the movie,
Okay.
I'll hear it then. But
Got
like,
it.
John Krasinski does nothing for me. Steve Carell.
Oh, really?
Steve Carell, I'm more excited for than Ryan Reynolds. Like Ryan Reynolds, if he's in a PG-13 or PG movie, like what's the point? Like I got Deadpool. I can buy my Deadpool tickets now. Why do I need to watch a Ryan Reynolds anything that's not Deadpool?
You can buy
Right
Deadpool
now.
tickets now?
Mhm.
I gotta go.
Okay. Not right this second, Devin.
Damn it.
Yeah. Ryan, you didn't watch anything this week. You just made us watch The Ruins. So do you want to
Yes,
talk?
I did.
So let's talk about that.
Okay. So we've got. I made you guys watch The Ruins. It's a 2008 movie. Director Carter Smith. Cater Smith. Whatever.
Like Carter.
Carter. Okay. It is a movie about 4 early 20s Americans in their early 20s go down to Mexico, find out about some Mayan ruins that's off the map, and decide to go. So major red flag already for anyone who just knows horror in general. So this is a movie that Kristen introduced me to like 10 years ago. I had no idea that this movie even existed. Until then, it was on Netflix, and she watched it. She thought I might like it, so she recommended it to me, and I watched it. I really liked it. I've seen it this is probably like the 5th time I've seen it though, because I don't watch it that often. And I enjoy it. There are better horror movies, but not as many out there that give me that suspense feeling in one scene and then make me laugh in another scene. And I enjoy that juxtaposition to it. So let's go with what you guys know about it or heard about it and your initial reactions, I guess, how we normally do this. So
I feel like this is one of the movies that a podcast I used to listen to would bring up a lot. Like how much they enjoyed it. Because as soon as things started happening, it started to seem familiar. But I like something about the plot just seemed familiar. I don't think I've never seen this before, but I know I've heard about it somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, you ended the show last week, Ryan, with saying, "Alan, I'm sorry."
Yeah.
And boy, do you have reason to be.
No, I was doing that to be polite and make you feel better. I really don't care if you don't like this movie. I really don't care.
I might have just not been in the mood for something like this.
Okay, that's totally fine.
But yeah, this wasn't for me. There are things that I think the performances are great. The CGI is laughable at parts, and some of the things they do are just ridiculous. And yeah.
Okay.
So this movie and I go way back. I found out, actually, I can tell you the exact day I learned about this movie. I learned about this movie on the 15th of May, 2024. I hadn't heard about it until you brought it up. I didn't know this was a movie. I didn't know Shawn Ashmore did anything other than X-Men and the Animorphs movies. And I was happy to see Jenna Malone in anything. I was not expecting this movie. So like you, I have a lot to bring up about this movie. I thought a lot about this since I watched it. Like you, I was like, okay, they're going to Maya Ruins and there's this VIP tour. We've all seen Saw. We've all seen Hostel. Like, we know how this is going to end. I didn't expect this movie to turn into, like, The Plants Have Eyes. And I think, like, that reason alone made me like, all right, let's do this. Because, like, I wasn't in the mood to watch a bunch of, like, native Mexicans kill a bunch of, like, rich vacationing people. I didn't want to watch that movie. And I'm actually really glad that's not the movie that we got. And I didn't know where it was going to go, like, most of it. So I thought it was... You're right. This isn't the best horror movie ever made, certainly. But, like, the first kill happens 23 minutes into the movie. Like, they
Surely
give
5 seconds.
Yeah, I timed it. As soon as it happened, I'm like, the movie didn't even start yet. Let me pause it and look. And, like, the movie knows what it is. The movie's like, hey, here's some generic dialogue at the beach introducing the relationships to each other. Here's a third character. Now they're gone. And, like, great. Give me that. Like, I don't need to know, like, a Shakespearean history of everybody's life. Tell me that these are the characters that are going to die. Put an artificial countdown over top of them and send them off into the woods packing.
I think the only thing you learn about them outside of their relationships to each other is, like, the one's going to be a doctor. And that's going to be important later.
Yeah. And that is legit it. And and honestly, that is one of the things I like about this movie. Because I have gripes about some movies where they try to do too much world building or they try to make you care too much about a character, even though the plot payoff for how much you're supposed to care about them doesn't pay off at all. And I feel like this is equal. This is how much you need to know about them, because this is eventually what happens. You don't need to know who their parents are or what their parents do for a living,
Right,
or what, like, economic background they come from. You don't need to know that because they're already in one of these all-inclusive resorts.
right. Like when like Sean Ashmore dies, I didn't need to go, no, his dad's struggling to pay off the mortgage. Like, I don't care.
Yeah. As he gets slowly pulled into the vines.
I have so many thoughts.
Tell me.
Let's just get into them.
Let's talk about Sean Ashmore, because like I can never remember which one's which, because he's a twin. There are two Ashmore brothers.
What?
And he's the one from X-Men.
Yeah.
But there's also the other one, Aaron Ashmore, I think. He was on Smallville. And it gets very confusing because Aaron Ashmore was on Smallville as Jimmy Olsen. But so was Sean Ashmore. He was on Smallville as a kid who stole Clark Kent's powers for 2 episodes. So it gets very confusing about which Ashmore brother's which. And I didn't know until right now which one was in this movie. I was like, is this the one who was from X-Men and Smallville, or just the one who was on Smallville? So.
Oh, that's funny.
Okay, so to get into the meat of the movie, so we can just start talking about it. These kids go off to this ruin, these Mayan ruins that are supposedly new, just found. I mean, not new, but they were just, refound. And
VIP.
there was a dig site. And this German guy takes these 4 American kids with him. And they come up to this Mayan temple. Now, my line of thinking with all the hiking and camping I've done in the past, and just general knowledge. 1, you don't go to a place that's not part of a tourist trap inside another country, particularly when there's a rainforest. You just don't.
Mm-hmm.
You just you stick to the tourist traps. You do not go to trails and ruins that the resort doesn't tell you about. Don't go chasing waterfalls.
I have a story for that. I'm going to put a pin in that, though.
Okay, so there's that. And then they come to the ruins, and it is completely cut off from the rest of the jungle, clearly salted, like around prior. Like there's something wrong with the dirt. It is dead. Like there's nothing there. They get forced up on top. The locals don't want them to leave. The ivy that's covering the Mayan pyramid is alive, and it's basically a giant Venus flytrap and eats meat. The 4 kids, one of them goes insane. Another one gets killed by his girlfriend. The last one gets killed trying to save his girlfriend, and the girlfriend escapes at the end in the original ending and spreads the plant to the rest of the planet and presumably kills everyone.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. In my research for the show tonight, I learned that there's an alternate ending. What's the alternate ending?
Yeah, I found that out too.
I have no idea.
Oh, no.
Okay. Well, here, let's talk about this while you guys look that up. Let me complain about this original ending in a post-COVID world, because watching this now, Ryan, does this give you does this ending give you like the ick a little bit more? Like, oh, she could have, if she just stayed still, it wouldn't have spread to the rest of the world. But now she's killed. She's doomed us all.
Well. See, things on my rewatches of this, there are 3 parts that I physically go to, like I cringe at, not because it's bad, but just because I know what it means.
Yeah.
And the one is when she's trying to take the picture and she's backing up. And because I know what the vines are, I know what's going to happen. Every time I watch this, since the first time I watched it, I say out loud, don't back up, stop it, stop backing up. And she backs up into it. The second part is when they lift up the German with the broken back onto the backboard.
Oh, and you hear it, the crunch.
And you hear it. And then the last part is just knowing that she's covered in the spores of that crap. And she's driving off into the she's driving off, and it's gonna spread it. Like it's gonna spread it, and you know, that bad news. But yeah, I mean, I don't watching this movie before COVID and after COVID, the whole like them being quarantined and then her escaping, there's like it's a little bit more on my mind when she does it. I wouldn't say it like yeah, but like it adds more to like I understand that context of this a tiny bit better now.
Yeah. Devin,
All right,
what'd you find? Okay.
I got the alternate ending. So it's not even like alternate, it's more like an extended ending, right?
Okay.
Because you can imply a couple of things based on what you know to be true with her, right? That she escapes, but then she most likely dies because the plants take over her body. So the extended ending is a shot of a graveyard. There's a funeral happening in the distance, but the gravekeeper is walking around whatever he's called is walking around the graveyard and starts hearing whistling. And he walks over to Amy's grave that has one of the plants sticking out of it whistling at him and touches him. So it's kind of like you kind of watch the spreading moment happen in the alternate ending, which I actually kind of like. I like that better than the two Greek people walking through the woods.
Dimitri.
So hold on. Was friend, I forget friend's name, German guy, was Matthias. Was Matthias German that could also speak Greek and English?
He was German. I mean, he said what he was there for at the very beginning, but I can never remember what it is.
It didn't matter. I said it didn't matter.
It didn't. Yeah, no, it didn't matter. What I find funny is whenever the doctor kid, whenever like somebody.
We lost Ryan.
Oh no. I had a very special question for you, Alan, while we're getting
nope,
there we go. So they're up on top and they freak out. And he always mentions like, "Don't worry about it. The Greeks will be here. The Greeks will be here."
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, there are 20 armed men surrounding you. What are two drunk Greeks gonna do to save you besides getting pushed up the pyramid themselves?
Yeah.
Opa!
Hand out some Slovaki. Let's go.
All right, Devin. What was your question? What was your question for me?
Did the medical guy? His name is Jeff, played by Jonathan Tucker.
Yeah.
At least for me, he was so distractingly a budget Tobey Maguire. Did you have the same thing?
What?
I think he looks like a budget Tobey Maguire.
Not at all. Like, no, what about him makes you think
he has this like little smile that he does with that same face shape, and I'm like, it's like they're brothers.
I can't help but look at his eyes and how squinty his eyes are, like in the movie. So maybe that was distracting me from his mouth, but there's nothing about him that makes me think that.
Yeah, Devin, we're gonna put you on that pyramid to die alone at the top.
All right, that's you know what, totally fine. I'm on board. One other distracting thing that I probably only Devin picked out, but this is mostly because I mean you might have too, Alan. How just very, very 2008 the fashion was in this. Oh my god! Yep. Especially what they ended up putting Amy in. That like white camisole top thing with the pink thing on. I'm like, whoa, boy! Someone arranged her outfit from Tumblr. I love it.
Oh yeah.
What? We're talking fashion now. I blipped out there for a second.
We are certainly talking fashion now. Yeah. Amy and Stacy specifically was very 2008 fashion.
Very much, and I mean, same thing with everyone. And I'm starting to find out that I really like movies from like the late. Well, if he likes movies from this period, he's going to be really happy with next week's choice.
Yeah, I hope so.
I hate this. Anyway, so I'm starting to realize that I really like movies from the early millennium back, simply because of like seeing the fashion and remembering like myself hanging around people dressed like that, or myself dressed in like, you know, like that. I mean, I especially liked the one the the kid from X-Men. I forget his name.
Yeah.
Ashmore. Is that his last name
Yes.
or his first name?
Yes.
Okay.
Last name.
Yeah, like the whole, like open shirt, baggy shorts, like.
I've seen a Facebook picture of Ryan in that exact outfit that Sean Ashmore's wearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I if it's not exactly that, it is like 99% that. So yeah.
I think Ryan might be the third Ashmore brother.
Are you, Ryan?
I think we keep losing him.
I think we do. He is the long lost Ashmore, though.
I don't know if it's his internet or his computer freezing up.
It could be a bit of both.
Yeah. So this might have to be a shorter one tonight.
Hey, I mean,
yeah.
I did have to ask though, because I know that sometimes you have a problem with some of the gore in horror movies. There was gore here, but I didn't feel like the gore was that bad. Was it bad for you?
I thought it was going to be worse than it was.
Yeah.
It wasn't as bad as I expected it to be.
Yeah.
Once you start dealing with parasites and stuff, it's like,
I think the worst that it got for me ever, the worst, like the gore almost made me cringe, was when Stacy like had a knife and she's just like, I just have to get the next one out. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of gross. Like that
was the worst part for me.
Yeah. So. You're back?
Yeah, I'm finally back. I hate this. So, and the gore is something I want to talk about because the gore sneaks up on you on this. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't expect it.
Well, I think my problem was that I expected it too much.
Yeah.
So, like, so have you seen Hostel, Alan?
No.
Okay, so to save you, the plot of Hostel is that these people are, like, staying in a foreign country. Someone shows up and goes, let me take you on a VIP experience. And they go off with this person, they're going to VIP experience, and he actually secretly kills them. I thought that since Matthias came up to them and was like, let me take you on a VIP experience in Mexico, I go, I'm watching Hostile. But I wasn't.
Yeah, the German guy is taking them on a thing in Mexico. Like that that was my first red flag of something weird's going on here, but it's not what you think.
Yeah, he doesn't know.
Ryan, you back now? All right.
Okay, am I back finally?
You are?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so the gore sneaks up on you on this one, and this is why I like it, because you're not expecting it to happen. And then when it does start happening, it gets on you gradually. And first it's just broken bones, and then the next thing it's melted flesh from the vines, and then you start seeing it crawling in underneath, and she takes the knife to herself. There's that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it just everything that I like about horror is in this. To like basically.
So, one of the questions I'm going to ask Ryan when he comes back, but I'm curious about you, Alan. Is horror scarier when it's like a ghost or a serial killer or a plant? Like, because I think very slowly, one of the genres of horror that I'm starting to really attach myself to is the nature doesn't care about you at all genre of horror. Is that nature's going to be nature, you're in its way. Sorry, but you're not built for this.
Are you saying your favorite genre of horror is The Happening? The trees are killing people? Oh no.
Excluding The Happening. I think I like the existential horror of like, here we are thinking that we have all this control, but really we're nothing and nature's going to bowl us over. I like that.
Singing flowers.
That's it. Like that.
And then when they start to mock her, they legit start to mock and almost laugh at her. Yeah. That's an awesome part as well.
Yeah. And the movie's doing that, the existential bit.
Mm-hmm.
For me, like, yeah, I do appreciate that genre of horror where it's nature not caring about us at all, and like, down to humanity. But like, also like people suck. So like, if you have a good villain in the horror, like that works for me too. Or I think where horror gets me the most is there was a short that was at the Horrific Hope film festival this year about a woman whose mind was just like going blank, like completely. Like, she forgot who she was, and like forgot where she was, what she was doing, and like this alternative personality grew out of that when it kept happening and like taking control of her life, and that was terrifying.
Wow. Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff, like the stuff that's out of anyone's control. So nature or biology, like the science of it, scientific horror. So
yeah. What about you, Ryan? What is your like favorite genre of horror? Is it like serial killer or is it like this stuff?
It's more or less kind of like this stuff.
Yeah.
Slashers are good, but I can't really take them seriously.
Yeah, but are you meant to?
I mean, it depends.
Yeah.
It really depends on what they're trying to do with it. But I really like here's a horrible situation. Let's throw some people into it, and whether that be nature, the wrath of nature, or the wrath of another person, that's fine. I absolutely hate anything that has to do with like, oh, look at this horrible thing that these people are dealing with for like an hour and 30 minutes, and then the end comes and goes, oh, it was all in their head.
Huh.
The horror of like that type of stuff, I absolutely hate it.
What movie does that? What's a good example of that one?
The Babadook, that movie that you really like.
spoilers.
Oh no, that was a really good one.
I hate it. I
Yeah,
absolutely
but
hate
it's
it.
an allegory for dealing with death.
It's an allegory for a mom who doesn't know how to handle a kid. I hate that movie so much. It had so much potential. It was so good up until the end. Sorry, Alan, for that, but it's the only example I have at the moment.
Right, Devin, you can take it off the list.
All right, gone. Out of here.
Yeah, like that's always a cheap twist though. Like I like a good I like a good twist that you don't see coming. Like
Yeah.
like Bruce Willis at the end of Sixth Sense.
Okay, if you guys ever come to London, there's a horror play here called 222. They have like various like famous people that kind of come in and out of the cast. We saw Lily Allen, but also Tom Feldman from the guy that played Malfoy from
Tom
Planet of the
Felton,
Apes and
yeah.
Falcon.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was also in it. And that does the twist really well to the point where like the first time I saw it, I was like, "Oh, I never saw it coming." And then the second time I watched it, I went, "Stop ruining the ending." But like that like the people that are watching it for the first time have no clue what you're picking up on. And that's the kind of twist I like a lot in movies, especially horror movies as well. Is you watch it a second time, you go, "Stop ruining it."
If you watch this one again, if you watch The Ruins again, if you care to, like when the blonde is being lowered, into the thing, when she's spinning and the lamp goes by the edge, you can see the vines reach out for her. And there's moments like that all over the start of the movie where it's like, if you look at the one corner, you can see the vines moving, or you can see like a hand like sticking up out of the vines, like behind them. Like there's a ton of little Easter egg stuff that they put in there so that when you watch it for a second time, you see it. And the CGI looks a lot better in those scenes than it does when the two of them are down there and the leaves start acting like water and like coming, like kind of closing in on them, because that doesn't really translate well. Now,
I mean, it worked well enough.
It did definitely work well enough, though. But yeah, so yeah, how would you guys react with a vine growing in you?
I would hate it. I would do. I mean, really, the most relatable thing in the whole movie was that Stacy lady was like, "Let me just cut it out. Let me just cut it." I would do the same thing. Like, I don't care how entwined in me it is. Get it out. I don't want it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd want it out.
You want out? I think about that when I eat like watermelon seeds. I'm like, do I got to get this out of me?
Oh, because here's the thing about this. Because of how many times I've watched it, I think I've got it because of how the locals react to it. No matter how many vines she pulls out, they're just going to keep growing.
Oh, yeah.
It's too late because it's spores.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't even need to be a touch. Like if you just get too close, like you're done. The most shocking part of the movie, though, that's like, oh my god, this is not, like how crazy the movie is going to get, is when they kill the kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That's when it's like, yeah, this movie's gonna go off the rails here in a second in regards to how screwed they are. But the part that makes me laugh the most is when the boyfriend's like, 4 Americans just don't disappear. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, like, in 2008, like a sheltered kid going to med school, I could see him thinking that. But in reality, our history is littered with Americans going missing in other countries.
His whole like logic on the top of the pyramid is so funny. Where he's like, all right, so like they're flying out to like Dice is flying out tomorrow. Like the airline's gonna be missing him, and the airline will call the police to go find. No, they won't. They're not gonna give a shit that he's not on that plane. They're gonna call his name a couple times, close the door, and take off.
Yeah, and then like it's going to be whenever you are going to be contacting family or a friend on your back is when someone's going to be contacted. Like that's how that's going to work. And then so what did you guys how did you guys interpret the scene with Amadeus and his legs? I think his name was Amadeus, the German. Where where the doctor kid like is like talking about removing his legs so he doesn't die, and then he's like, no, remove my legs. Do you think it was like shock on Stacy's part that she was yelling at him, like he was yelling for you, like he was yelling at you to stop? Or like, do you think that was shock on her part that she was interpreting it that way? Because I don't ever remember hearing him yelling stop, but granted, he did feel everything. So it's one of those things where it's like, do you feel like he was justified in doing and continuing what he was doing? Or do you feel like he should have stopped after the first leg?
I would have done both. I think I would have done it.
Yeah.
It's one of those, it's like, I mean, at that point, right, it's like the Civil War, right? If someone gets like their leg blown out by a cannonball, the only thing you can do is cut it off because you're going to lose the rest of it to infection. His logic was roughly along those same lines. And I think, like, brain kicked in and went, oh, you gotta save him, and this is how you do it, and it's going to suck, but it's how you do it. That's my voice for him, by the way.
Yeah.
But, like, I think he's,
When the German guy fell down the shaft, I all I could picture was Will Ferrell and Austin Powers. Hello, I've fallen and broken my leg.
I have to say that bit has not aged well, but it's still funny every time I see it. I mean, I see it and hear it. I laugh every single time. But I will admit that it has not aged well. But it is still so funny.
Yeah.
It is still.
yeah.
Okay, so besides the stuff I didn't hear you guys talk about, is there anything else that you guys wanted to talk about it? Because pretty much my thing is done when it comes to this movie. So
I will say this is something that I like about horror movies that not many do anymore. This doesn't have any sequels. Like, this is a one and done. Like, the ending is the ending, which I appreciate. Because that's just not something you see anymore. Like, there's sequels and prequels. Like, hell, they just had a Strangers prequel come out this weekend.
Yeah,
so,
they did.
Yeah. And then you have that reboot of the Garfield franchise coming out this weekend, which is another horror movie. Because why is Chris Pratt playing Garfield? Like, what's the point?
The trailer had me until he opened his mouth, and then I went, nope, I'm good.
What baffles me the most is there's a video going around of Chris Pratt saying how all the voices that he does are different. Like, how Garfield's different from Mario, who's different from Emmett from the Lego movie. I'm like, no, they're you. Shut up.
It's all you. Yeah.
Keep destroying priceless architecture in L.A., you dick. Like,
what did he destroy in L.A.?
They bought a house, like a famous house in the hills, I think, and tore it down to build a McMansion.
Ooh, Chris.
Yeah.
Ugh. Ryan, to your point, the one thing that I did appreciate about this movie is that, okay, so in some horror movies, the main characters kind of have to make stupid decisions, right? If they all made perfectly logical, great decisions, they wouldn't be in the predicament they're in, or they would easily get away from the bad thing. In this one, I could pick out all their bad decisions as they were doing them. And, like, in some horror movies, like, the bad decisions they make are like, don't split up. It's really stupid that you did that. But some of the bad decisions that they make are like, don't go into the kitchen because I, the audience, know the serial killer's in the kitchen. How dare you go in the kitchen, you idiot? Which, like, to the character, like, isn't a bad decision. They're just checking out the kitchen. But, like, in this one, like, don't lift the dude with the broken back. They know you shouldn't do that, and you still did it. Like, the bad decisions that they made were obvious and were ignorant, and I think actually helped to, like, kind of ground the characters.
Yeah.
Like, when they were, like, talking utter garbage about how the military's gonna come or the police will be looking... No, they're not. Like, but you can tell how four entitled Americans would think that way. And that's so endearing to me. It's like, oh, you sweet summer child, you're gonna die on top of this thing. But no. The police will come tomorrow, and the Greeks.
So I don't know if you brought it up already or not, but you said, I mentioned something when we started, and you said, let's put a pin in it, and I'm just remembering it now.
Oh, yeah.
I said the whole thing about, like, you know, it's like, the main thing about this movie that I will tell anyone is that if you go somewhere and you're at a resort and you hear about something that's not being advertised by the resort or inside a tourist trap, you don't go to it. You stay to where you're supposed to stay. And you said... let's put a pin in that and let's get back to it. Do you have a story of you being stupid?
Yeah, of course I do. It doesn't. Listen, it doesn't end as exciting as you think it does. I have pictures, but they're not going to show up very well.
You're sitting in front of us, so obviously you didn't get eaten by vines.
Right. So.
Or the vines in control.
I am the vines. So, I mean, so we were in Greece, and there are obviously ruins in Greece.
Yeah.
And we wanted to go see the Acropolis, and everybody kept talking about this Acropolis in Lindos. And we get a car, and we start driving the opposite direction of Lindos, and show up at this other Acropolis that I didn't even know existed. And, you know, it itself was very cool. It was like an Acropolis dedicated to, like, Athena, but if you go to the one side of it, there is this hill, and it shows you a picture of what's on the back end of the hill, and it goes, oh, on the back end of the hill looks like this. You shouldn't really go down to this thing, but it looks like this. Well, of course, Devin goes, I'm going to go down to it. I'm going to do it. So I crawl down the side of the hill to the ruins, to the part where they tell you not really to go. And I go in the ruins because I have to go in the ruins. And then I keep going because the part that they show in the picture is cool, but nothing really is in there. These are like really shallow things. And off in the distance, and I'll send these pictures to you guys, off in the distance, I see this like rock with even older ruins in it. But built into these even older ruins is like a 1950s door. And it's open. So, of course, Devin has to go into the old open 1950s door. And it is horrific in there.
I don't ever want to hear you.
I want to hear what's in the door. Shut up, Ryan. I want to hear.
I don't ever want to hear Devin complain about someone in a horror movie on screen doing something when you've done this.
So I went in first because I'm just like, I'm brave Devin now, and just walk my butt in. It goes back really far. I can't see how far back it goes. I can see in the distance doors going to the right and left as the hallway goes back. And then somebody else came in after me, and they confirmed with me that there was a circuit breaker on the left-hand side that was wired to lights, but somebody cut the wiring to that. So the lights don't work. And I'm standing there with my cell phone and a flashlight going, how far back should I go? So I took a couple of steps, took a picture, and went, I'm scared now, and left. But yeah, so that exact thing, the exact piece of advice you told us not to do in the beginning, I just did that about a week ago.
Stick to your tourist traps, people.
That
stick to your...
Yeah.
is the most Devin thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, I'll send pictures. I'll show you.
And I'm gonna
document all of it.
I'm gonna make you feel bad about it, Devin.
You better.
You should You should have kept going. You should have kept going. You would have wandered onto the set of My Big Fat Greek Wedding 4 and
Someone just put Windex in my eyes.
I was about to say, when you said there were doors in the left and right, I was waiting for this whole thing to be a joke and for you to say that the Scooby-Doo gang started to flip through the doors like they do in their cartoons.
Oh, no, this is like a real...
Out came Fred and Daphne out of the left door and Chugi and Scabby out of the right door. Scabby.
It was appropriately set up for a hilarious 1970s chase montage, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
So what it was, Devin, it was... You've seen Being John Malkovich, right?
Yeah. Oh, it was
If you would have kept going, you would have become John Stamos.
John Stamos?
Yeah.
What a super good person to be.
Just eating the yogurt. Yeah. Like.
Yep. Eating yogurt. Yep. I'm assuming he just eats plain yogurt.
Yeah.
All day.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Should have kept going.
I should have. I really should have kept
because everywhere you look, there's a smile.
That makes it even creepier.
Yeah. I gotta rewatch that movie.
Anything else we want to talk about with the ruins?
That's all I got, man.
All right. Well, that does it for this week's episode. Devin, next week is your pick. What are you going to have us watch?
Ryan, you're going to love this because it's right in your era of movies that you like for the fashion. And I also rewatched a bit of it. And it's like it was made for Tumblr. So I'm really excited for you guys to watch this. It's the 2019 Hamlet.
2009.
David Tennant and
2009.
2009. Sorry. The 2009 Hamlet with David Tennant and Patrick Stewart. I can't wait to talk to you guys about this. I really can't. I started watching a bit of it, and it was like putting on some warm, comfy socks. I love this, and can't wait to talk.
It's 3 hours long, so get ready for some Shakespeare, Ryan. Like,
is it 3 hours long?
I have no problem. I have no problem with Shakespeare.
Okay.
Oh, it does not feel like 3 hours. It is a good 3 hours.
I mean, I've only seen 2 versions of Hamlet, The Lion King and Eddie Izzard on Broadway. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So I have the outline.
Yeah. Okay. I'm good.
All right. Cool. Well, you can join us here next week on Wednesday for that episode. We'll be streaming live on hopefully on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And you can also catch up on older episodes. You have to watch this podcast on our YouTube channel and on our podcast feeds, which we are currently updating and getting everything back out there since we're a bit behind. So stay tuned. Should be an episode every other day for the next next week or so. So subscribe, check it out. Until then, for You Have to Watch This podcast, I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devin.
And the trees are killing people. Oh no.